Think for a second. What if part of your past is a lie? What if your brain rewrote the details of your life, changed faces, phrases, feelings, and you still believe it all happened exactly that way? Our memories are not just a storage of the past. They are an active process that takes place here and now, every time we recall something. The brain is not an archivist who carefully preserves files. It is an editor, sometimes caring, sometimes deceptive. It cuts, it adds, it smooths things over. And all of this, without your knowledge. Today we'll learn why our memories cannot be taken as truth, how the brain distorts reality, and why this is not a mistake but a brilliant survival mechanism. When we think of memory, we imagine a library. A place where neat books, the events of our lives, are stored. You just open the right one, and everything comes back exactly as it was. But in reality, memory works differently. The brain doesn't store complete copies of events. It keeps fragments, smells, emotions, visual images, bits of dialogue. When you remember, your brain pulls out those fragments and assembles a new version of the event. It's as if an artist were to paint the same picture over and over again, each time with new strokes, new colors, new mistakes. Sometimes the result is almost identical, and sometimes it's a completely different canvas. Scientists call this the reconstructive nature of memory. Research by neurobiologist Carl Lashley in the 1920s showed that it's impossible to pinpoint a single memory center in the brain. Memories are distributed across the entire neural network. Which means that every time you recall something, you activate an entire map of neurons, intertwining in new ways. That's why memories can change. The brain doesn't reproduce, it reconstructs. And reconstruction is always interpretation. We're certain, I remember this exactly. But confidence is not a sign of truth. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus devoted her life to studying false memories. She proved that people can be made to remember events that never actually happened. In one experiment, participants were told that as children, they had once gotten lost in a shopping mall. At first, they denied it. But after a couple of weeks, they began to remember the smells, the faces of passers-by, the fear. Their brains created a story to fill the gap. This is the phenomenon of false memories. And it doesn't just happen in the lab. We edit our memories every day, when we retell them to friends, think about the past, or argue over who said what. Each retelling is like a new version of a document. And over time, the original disappears. That's why two people who witness the same event can remember it completely differently. Each kept their own version, not factually true, but emotionally believable. Our brain doesn't simply make mistakes, it protects us. When a memory causes too much pain, suppression mechanisms are activated. We forget faces, sounds, words. Sometimes entire episodes are erased. It's not a failure, it's care. This is how the brain helps us move forward, without getting stuck in trauma. On the other hand, it knows how to embellish. We romanticize relationships, idealize childhood, recall the good old days, even though they weren't quite like that. The brain reshapes the past so we can live with the present. It doesn't make us more honest, but it makes us more resilient. Memory is not a mirror. It's a survival tool. Try to recall an event without emotions. Can you? No, because emotions are the glue that holds memories together. The amygdala, the part of the brain linked to fear and joy, acts like an amplifier. When we experience strong emotions, the brain releases hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol. They literally seal the event into memory. But emotions don't just strengthen, they distort. We don't remember what actually happened, we remember how we felt. That's why witnesses of the same event can tell completely different stories. One might say, it was terrible, another, it was fun. Both are right. Their emotions created different movies. The brain doesn't store reality, it stores personal experience. Modern technology has already learned how to interfere with memory. In experiments with rats, scientists activated specific neurons, making the animals remember events that never happened. When certain areas of the brain were switched on, the rats felt fear; when others were activated, they behaved calmly. This means that memory is simply a neural pattern, one that can be triggered artificially. In the future, this could become the foundation for technologies that edit human memories. Imagine being able to erase painful experiences, to delete loss, remove guilt, or wipe away regret. But if we start editing our memories, will we still be ourselves? Because our identity is the sum of our memories. Without them, we are just a blank page. We often say, "I saw it with my own eyes, I remember." But visual memory is unreliable too. Experiments show that when a person sees an image and then a similar one, the brain blends their details. That's how false visual memories appear. Moreover, even our beliefs can change what we remember. If you believe someone was rude to you, over time you'll remember words that were never said. The brain edits the past so it fits your worldview. This makes memory both convenient and dangerous. Because the stronger the emotion, the less truth remains in the story. Our memories aren't an archive of the past. They are a living organism, growing, changing, forgetting, and creating anew. They're not perfect, but that's where their beauty lies. The brain edits our past so we can keep moving forward. Maybe truth isn't in accuracy, but in the meaning we give to our stories. Because, in the end, memory isn't what we have, it's who we become.